This is a special message for Yedidya readers. As we get closer to the period of the 3 weeks, I felt it was important to give over the following message, which I want to share with you. And hopefully, we can together understand a little bit better what the 3 weeks is all about in Tisha B'Av, and how we can get closer to the Beis Hamikdash, which we're longing for every single day. The pasuk in Mishlei, beautiful pasuk, says Ish emunos rav brachos. The Ish emunos, the person of multiple faiths, he has lots and lots of blessing. And for a Jew, this is a difficult pasuk. Ish emunos. We have one emunah, Hashem Echad, as my Rebbe Rav Shlomo Zerfani told me last Moshe Shabbos. He said, "Batach bechad va'al tifchad." Believe in the one and don't have any reason to fear. And our religion is based, that's the foundation, Krishma, Hashem Echad. So what's this idea of Ish Amunos? We have plural Amunos. The idea, I believe, is as follows, that a person wants to grow in Amunah. It's not easy. Every single day, we're challenged. And remember during the Hurricane Sandy, a woman wrote to me with the following question. She said, all the rabbis are telling us to have Amunah, but I have Amunah. What are they asking me? And I constantly think of new answers that I could possibly have answered her. And today I'll tell you as follows, which is basically what I told her at the time, just with a little bit more explanation. Amunah is not a static state. Every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, we have to be growing in Amunah. But how does a person grow constantly in Amunah? How does a person make that happen? Alright, one day is like follows the next, follows the next, follows the next. How do we work it out that we're constantly growing in Amunah? So there's two ways to do it. And by the way, the Mitzudas Davida, before we say that, the Mitzudas Davida, that pasuk in Mishlei Chaf says Ish Emunos is a misasik emunah. Someone makes an asik out of emunah. And I believe anyone who's reading Yedidya is included in that category, is making an asik out of emunah, because the Yisod of Yedidya, the Yisod of the book Yedidya, is to try and strengthen our emunah and grow daily. So one way is enumerated by the Zohar. The Zohar in Parshas Miketz, Kuf Tzadik Tesam and Beis, it's talking about Yosef Atzadik there, and it brings this pasuk Ish Emunos Rav Brachos, and it says this is talking about Rav Yasa Saba. Rav Yasa Saba, what was special about Rav Yasa Saba? Every time he would eat, he would first daven for his mazonos and then eat. Even if he had plenty of food, he would first daven. And the idea behind this is that everything we take for granted, our food, our clothing, everything we do, but especially mazonos, which is our connection to Hashem through our life, he wouldn't take anything for granted. He davened for everything. And this is the idea. This is how we grow in Amunah. We grow in Amunah by, one way to grow constantly in Amunah is by davening for everything, even what we have, to recognize connecting to Hashem. But there's a second way to grow in Amunah, right? And that's by dealing with difficulties. And that's why the Medrash in Bereishis Rabbah, Pei Beis says that Ish Amunah is Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, every day of his life was a new challenge, a new difficulty, a new suffering. And by facing these difficulties and saying, I'm going to believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going to take myself out of the picture because I realize there's absolutely no way I can deal with this situation. It's much too complicated, much too intricate, just can't be. The more we pull back and allow ourselves to just rely on Hashem, so the more Amunah that we have, and we grow daily in that and come closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? These are two methodologies to grow in Amunah. Now I want to share with you now, before closing, a beautiful idea from the Sfas Emes, Parshas Pekudei. The Sfas Emes says, Ish Emunos Rav Brachos. He says like this. He says, Hashem wants, this is Shnas Taf Reish Lamed Vav, Hashem wants, He wants nothing more than give us every single thing we need. So why does it happen? Why don't I have everything I necessarily need? So says the Sfas Emes, because sometimes if we get everything we need, that will cause us to come to transgression, right? Right? Because um, right, if he's not an Ish Neman, it'll cause him to forget Hashem. Yochel Ashkoch B'Hashem Yisborach Mashpia Kol Tov. Nimsa Al Yidei Kabbalachin. It brought you to transgression. By giving us everything we need, it brought you to transgression. So how do you fix that? Right? It says the Sfas Emes, when you come and become an Ish Amunas, right? When everything you're doing is Amuna, right? Then a person, Hashem just can pour his kindness onto you. He can rain down all the good things into your life. And that says the Sfas Emes, Bnei Yisrael, Tevukim Be'amuna, Al Yidei Kabbalahim Machniya Natzman. When they get what they need, they humble themselves more to Hashem. And by doing that, then they get closer and closer to Kodesh Baruch. And this is Ish Amunas Rav Brachas. The person of Amunah, Rav Brachas, just tremendous, all the brachas possible, Rav Brachas, all the brachas possible will come to him. And this is Ish Amunas Rav Brachas. And I'll close with the following thought. We're about to enter the period of the 3 weeks, 9 days, and Tisha B'Av. We're dealing with the Korban of the Beis HaMikdash, as I sit next to the coastal Maravi here. And the Chazal tell us, Gemara in Yuma Daf Tes, that the Shorish, the root of the Korban, was Sinas Chinam, baseless hatred. And the Gra explains the root of baseless hatred is from right? It's from lack of emunah, right? Because when a person has emunah, everything accepts, with complete tranquility, with complete humility, just totally putting himself into Hashem's hands. Whatever happened, it could be the craziest, most difficult, most challenging situation, but a person says, "If this is what Hashem wants, that's what I want." Kol mad abid Rahman l'tov avid. As Rashi says in Eino Mavado, on the Gemara in Chulin Daf Zayin, it says that a machshefa, a witch, was trying to hurt one of the chachamim, and he said, "Eino Mavado," because if Hashem wants it, it'll happen anyway, and if He doesn't want it, it won't happen. When a person puts himself completely into Hashem's hands, he doesn't get upset with anybody, no matter what happens. He realizes, as Rav Gershon Elshin has said so many times in the past few years, that every single thing that happens is only because Hashem wants it. It has nothing to do with the person at all. The Gra says it in Mishle Yud Aleph Yotes. A person is only a shliach of Hashem. Nothing happens at all unless Hashem wants it, be good, bad, or whatever. So this is our avoda now as we enter the 3 weeks and 9 days and towards Tisha B'Av, to accept every single thing that Hashem does, and accept it and eradicate sin and skin from our hearts, and in that way to bring us closer and closer to the binyan Beis HaMikdash. This is true in all places, but it's especially true in marriage, which is a very challenging relationship. Men and women are so different, right? And this is why Ms. Elbinger and myself have taken upon ourselves to write Bezrat Hashem with the great Siyata Shmaya, right? Mrs. Elbinger more than myself, as I mentioned once. Mrs. Elbinger is the pilot, and I'm only on ground control, trying to make sure we get to the right place. But with the great Siyata Shmaya of the Borei Olam, we hope that in the not so far future, we'll be able to complete and publish the Yedidya 2, and Bezrat Hashem to help people in their marriages, to recognizing that everything is from Hashem. There's no need ever to get upset with your spouse, just like Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said in 50 years of marriage, he never had a fight. There's absolutely no reason to ever get into an argument or a fight with your spouse, because it's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, he would brush his hat off before he walked his house, he said, the Shekhinah is here. Right? And as Rav Dan Segel explains, that Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach understood that when he was speaking to his wife, he was speaking to the Shekhinah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in His tremendous rachamim, His infinite mercy, and His infinite chesed, He should Ish Amunus Rav Brachas, He's help to our work, learning, writing, learning, and publicizing Yedidya, strengthening it, strengthening ourselves in our own Amunah. Ish Amunus Rav Brachas. We should be zeichet to all the many, many brachas, as the Sfas Emes says, come through having Amunah, right? Once we have Amunah, we can receive everything we need because there's no chashash, there's no concern that will lead us away from Hashem. So Ish Amunah Shah Brachas, Hashem should give us the greatest siyat and shmaya that we should have atzlacha in our avodah in Amunah, and we should Bezrat Hashem see the binyan of the base of Mikdash, Karav Mamish, Amen, Ken Yerutzah.